Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Tuesday, December 19th. The Jaguars fresh off an embarrassing loss to the Baltimore Ravens on primetime. Losers of 3 straight. They're now tied for the division lead in the AFC South after having a commanding lead earlier in the year. They are not playing good football right now. There are a lot of different reasons to look at the Jaguars and why they've lost 3 straight and why they're now an 8-6 team after being 8-3. A lot has gone wrong for them. Injuries, poor play, bad luck over this 3-game stretch. It's all been there. There have definitely been some position groups, though, in my opinion, that have disappointed throughout the season. And we're going to talk about that here today. That's what I want to look at. There's still plenty of reasons for optimism with this franchise moving forward long-term, even in 2023. But I definitely want to look at some of the areas of this roster that are just not good enough, that are not performing right now. And look, like I said, lots of injuries have happened. There's something you do your best to prepare for in the roster building phase of the offseason. But when you have a quarterback battling through injuries all year or a lot of the year, multiple starting linemen missing time, your most consistent receiver now out in Christian Kirk, your best interior defensive lineman dealing with the health issues that Devon Hamilton was dealing with earlier this year, your top corner in Tyson Campbell dealing with injuries for most of the year, trying to battle through it, your top safety in Andre Sisco missing some time. It's going to be tough to win, but you see other teams out there that are winning football games despite myriad injuries. So I think that even with these injuries, there are some areas of this roster that if the Jaguars had worked to improve over the offseason, that they could be in a better position. And these are areas that I think that they've got to improve from 2023 heading into 2024. There's no doubt about that in my mind. So we're going to look at those areas that have disappointed, in my opinion, so far. If you enjoy the content, though, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can also check out genjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear. Again, really appreciate y'all being here. So the number one issue for me offensively with this roster is the center spot. And look, I liked Luke Fortner coming out of Kentucky. I cannot say that I did not. I liked him. I agreed with the pick. I thought he could be a guy that you plug in at center and have him there for a long time. And he's been pretty decent in pass protection for the most part. Now, down the stretch in this game against the Baltimore Ravens, he started falling apart a little bit there. But Ravens, they do have a tremendous interior pass rush. The issue for me, though, with Luke Fortner, he has zero ability to create push in the run game. It has been atrocious. I think it is the biggest reason why the Jaguars really struggle to run the ball up the gut. They've been trying to run the ball with more power. They've been trying to use more gap principles this year, and it has not been working. And I think the main culprit is his inability to do anything in the running game. I think the Jaguars have to upgrade the center spot. I think that what he does in pass protection is not good enough to outweigh the liability that he is in the run game. And look, left guard has been a problem too. I think most of that is due to the fact that it's been a revolving door, again, thanks to injuries. So I'm not as worried about left guard if you're talking about potentially Walker Little or Ezra Cleveland there next year, if those guys are healthy. But I am absolutely all in on having to upgrade the center spot. It's just not good enough right now. And again, I think it's the biggest reason the Jaguars running game has really struggled, although no one will tell you that right now in that building. I really do think that his inability to run block at center has been just really, really negative for this offense this year. I think the interior of the defensive line has struggled as well. It's been disappointing to me. I think when you look at the amount of money paid to that position, and look, they're not paying any of these guys exclusively as stars, but they're paying each of them to be at least impactful in their roles as starters when you talk about Devon Hamilton, Foley Fatukasi, and Roy Robertson Harris. Now, Devon Hamilton, I've seen people be critical of his play this year, and it has not been up to his standard. But this is a guy that was, again, dealing with a medical issue to start the season. He's trying to get back to full strength right now, and I think he's starting to play better football. So I'm not putting any of this on Devon Hamilton. But I will tell you, Foley Fatukasi and Roy Robertson Harris are players that are being paid like guys that should be able to get the job done consistently, even without Devon Hamilton out there. And look, in a perfect world, if Devon Hamilton was fully healthy this year and he is your top interior defender, and then you've got Roy Robertson Harris and Foley Fatukasi as kind of 2A and 2B in that regard, you're probably doing pretty good. but they're paying these guys to be better than that, in my opinion. I don't think they've lived up to their price tag. And Foley Fatukasi has been battling through injuries as well, but he seems to always be battling injuries for the Jaguars ever since he's arrived. So I think it's something you've got to look at how you can upgrade that position group in 2024. I do think Devon Hamilton, who will be here, being fully healthy throughout the offseason, which he should be next year, obviously knock on wood. If you had a fully healthy Devon Hamilton, I don't think we'd be sitting here talking about this issue. But that's the way it's gone. And again, you're paying Roy Robertson Harris and Foley Fatukasi to be able to get the job done without Devon Hamilton. In my opinion, they haven't really done that at a high level. I think the receiver performances outside of Christian Kirk have really left a bit to be desired. Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones, and obviously Zay Jones has been battling through the knee injury a lot of the year, now a hamstring injury. These guys aren't performing, though, the way you'd expect them to at this point in the season. Calvin Ridley, fine, you expect some rust early on, but I think you would expect him to be able to create more separation more consistently. I think you would expect him to be a little bit more impressive overall at the catch point. And look, I think that there have been games where he has looked like that dude. Calvin Ridley has. There's also been games where it looked like you shouldn't be throwing him the football. So I think that wide receiver, you've got to look at this group. Christian Kirk will be back next year, obviously. He's your slot star. He can play at a really high level within this offense, be a reliable safety blanket, safety valve for Trevor Lawrence. But I think that you've got to think about upgrading around Christian Kirk in this wide receiver room. We'll see what they do with it this offseason. Finally, edge depth has been an issue for me, and for me, it was the biggest issue going into the season. It is still a major issue. Look, Josh Allen has been fantastic this year. You've got to bring him back. Trayvon Walker is absolutely bringing it now. He's playing some pretty damn good football for the Jaguars beyond just being a tone setter, beyond just being a freak athlete and a guy that plays the run really, really well. He's starting to do some more things as a pass rusher for you. But who else plays with any consistency on the edge? Kayvon Chason? No. Dewan Smoot, yeah, you love the guy, but coming off an Achilles, he's not playing like the Dewan Smoot that you saw last year prior to the injury. Yasir Abdullah, you really thought a day 3 rookie was going to come in and be that guy for you? I don't know. For me, the Jaguars had myriad opportunities to improve at that spot this year. Offseason, free agency, the draft, free agency following the draft, free agency throughout the 2023 season after the season started when you could tell that this was an issue. You could have gotten some guys. You still could go get a guy. I don't think they will. For me, that has been costing them in a big way. Not having anyone beyond Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker to be able to go out there and make an impact. I think it's one of the glaring issues with how they built this roster this year. So I think they've got to upgrade these areas. When you talk about edge depth, you talk about center, interior offensive line, you talk about receiver, it has been disappointing. And obviously, you talk about the interior of the defensive line. So this is a team that even if they do close out the season strong and go win a playoff game, there are clear, glaring issues with this roster. They have got to work to upgrade these areas in 2024, in my opinion. If they don't, I think you can go into the season and expect them to have issues, to have struggles, regardless of injuries or not. I think that if they don't upgrade these areas, they're going to be costly for them in 2024. We'll see how it works out. Again, I really appreciate y'all being here. I'm really hopeful that over these next 3 games, the Jaguars can figure something out. But if Trevor Lawrence doesn't play, he's in the concussion protocol right now against the Buccaneers. I don't know how you expect to win that football game. Then you're talking about having to beat the Panthers and the Titans, which you should be able to do. But you never know with how this team is playing right now. We'll see how it goes. Again, really appreciate y'all tuning in. You can hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. Follow Generation Jaguar at Generation Jag. Hit that like and subscribe button here on YouTube. Notification bell so you don't miss a show. Really appreciate y'all. Have a good one.